Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Hello, African Diaspora News family. My name is Reneilwe Morema, and I am your host right here on the African Diaspora News Channel. I'm reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Prophet Joshua Mapongwa questioned whether we have the correct history narrative or are we just living in a fad propaganda? Do we have independent thinking as human beings?
Hitler kills 2 million white people. He's the most evil man that ever lived. Leopold kills 20 million Africans. He still does not appear on the list of the most wicked people that ever lived on the earth. There must be something wrong with this narrative. Totally something wrong with that narrative. It can be right by day, by night, by numbers, by mathematics, by ethnography. It cannot be right that the whole world watches the massacre of black people and says nothing.
For those who do not know Prophet Mapongwa, Joshua Mapongwa is a Zimbabwean-born public speaker, author, philosopher, leader, musician, and social entrepreneur. Beyond his spiritual and literary endeavors, Joshua Mapongwa is a gentleman of many talents and interests. An ardent lover of African culture, he actively promotes the preservation of African traditional values, art, spirituality, and music through various initiatives. He champions the recognition of African contribution to the global cultural landscape, fostering a sense of pride and unity amongst Africans worldwide. Anyway, based on what Mapongwa questioned, if we are living in a fad propaganda or are we actively thinking on our own? Do we have independent thinking? It got me thinking. You know, he posed an interesting question as to why Leopold is not on the list of the most evil people in history, but yet Hitler, who kills white people, and he's on the list. Leopold II of Belgium's greed led to more than 20 million Congolese deaths, all in the name of making him rich. They worked these Congolese men, women, and children to death, and failure to meet Leopold's minimum requirement in mining whatever resources he wanted you guys to mine resulted in your arms being cut because he believed that the arms are useless if they can't meet the minimum requirement. So what does he do? He chops them off. He used to unalive the children of the parents who failed to meet these minimum requirements in the mines. King Leopold is a central figure in one of the darkest chapters of European colonialism during the late 19th century. Motivated by unbridled greed and racism, he transformed the Congo Free State into a nightmarish realm for its inhabitants. Leopold's reign witnessed the forced labor of millions of Congolese, enduring harsh conditions and facing violence for failing to meet the king's quotas. His relentless pursuit of wealth through the rubber trade led to a drastic decline of the population, plummeting from 30 million to 10 million. Exploitation extended beyond this rubber trade. There were construction projects, farming, mining, and God knows what in order to make him rich. So people died making Leopold rich. Leopold's private army enforced his rule through brutalities and resulted in the loss of over 20 million people due to his policies, nearly half the population. I'm talking about top-tier torture, murders, and even mutilation. I'm talking about children being fed to crocodiles.
You see the statue that's behind me? King Leopold II. 1885. The Western powers of the world came together and they carved up Africa like a cake. They decided who would get what. What would France get? What would Portugal get? What would the UK get? What would Belgium get? And this man right here, this devil, this demon, this antichrist, the worst names and the worst adjectives in a dictionary wouldn't be sufficient to describe who he was and what he did. the Belgian Congo became the personal property of King Leopold II. There's nothing wrong with us learning about what happened to the European Jews in Germany, because it was, without question, a genocide. But the amount of people that this white supremacist killed in the Congo, even more than 50 million. And when they colonized Africa, unlike slavery, they made you a slave in your own home. Slavery, they put us on ships and took us somewhere we never been. But with colonization, they made us slaves in our own home. And the Belgian Congo had one of the worst forms of forced labor throughout the entire African continent. If you didn't produce what they felt you should have produced for free, they cut hands off, brothers and sisters. They cut feet off, brothers and sisters. This man right here, this devil, we must not only study our ancestors and our heroes, we got to study our enemies as well, so we can prepare for their next round.
But somehow all this history magically disappeared from the media. People suddenly have an amnesia when it comes to the suffering of the Congolese people. They managed to conceal the atrocious nature of Leopold by revealing Hitler's evilness. I'm not defending anyone. They are all evil in my eyes. The Jews did not deserve what Hitler did to them. But why does he get to be the face of evil alone? Why is this narrative of Hitler being evil so pushed in the education system, so pushed, from history into the modern day society? Have you ever wondered what motivated Hitler's evil actions? What set him off? We know Leopold was motivated by greed, but what about Hitler? We know that Russia is invading Ukraine because the Western countries, aka America, wants to use Ukraine as a port to set up a military to spy on Russia and other Eastern countries. And the Ukrainian president, being a clueless actor who still has dreams to make it in Hollywood and walk the Met Gala, allowed the Western countries in his backyard, and Putin wouldn't have none of that. Hence the invasion, hence he invaded Russia. That one we understand. But what did Hitler see? What really set him off? I won't believe what I read in the history books because they are written to favor the other party. They are written to change the trajectory of history. I can't read books that leave out one part of history that makes them look bad. Books that have half-truths in them. Books that are meant to absolve them of their crimes. Books that don't show the evil Leopold for what he truly was. The way the propaganda media riled up the world against Hitler made me believe one narrative, makes me really wonder if we are being fed lies. They went to hell and back to paint Hitler as the bad guy, and he is the bad guy, don't get me wrong, he is. But no, I feel like the way the propaganda media reeled up the world against Hitler made us believe one narrative. It makes me really wonder if we are being fed lies. It makes me really wonder if we have independent thinking. I'm not defending Hitler, as I've said. If he had his way, black people were also going to face the same fate as the Jews did. But worse, even some black people in Germany during that time also suffered under Hitler. Regardless of the outcome of World War II, we were still going to face the same fate we faced. But I can't with the lies. I can't with the lies and the propaganda, the concealing of events and protecting evil men that caused nothing but pain in our society. So most Europeans have never heard of Leopold, never mind his crimes, which is a big key indicator of history as propaganda. This is a very simple mind game. You sponsor and push a narrative to the extent that they believe it over their own individual, collective, national cultures, norms, and tradition. You push this narrative to the extent that we don't even have independent thinking anymore. It's like we're being controlled or being fed a different narrative, and we basing our decision based on that narrative that we're being fed of, that propaganda. Sometimes you really have to sit down by yourself, do away with these media, the propaganda, the lies, the history books, and really think what motivated Hitler to kill or murder or torture all these Jews? What really motivated it? Yes, there is no excuse for evil. Evil is evil at the end of the day, but you have to really wonder the way the Western media, the way the Western countries are pushing this narrative, this propaganda to paint Hitler as the bad person and, you know, paint him as the face of evil, but they forget about Leopold. They forget to magically put that in their history book. They magically have amnesia over Leopold's evilness. You have to really, really wonder what set Hitler off. Like I said, with Russia, we know what set Putin off, hence the invasion. With Leopold, we know that it's greed, hence the people of Congo worked to death. Now, with Hitler, what really set him off? Because they are hell-bent on painting him as the face of evil. You have to really wonder. He kills white people, he's the face of evil. Leopold kills black people, and he is awarded with statues and given God knows what, given the guard of honor. You know, he's worshipped, he's celebrated. So, yeah, you get to really wonder. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations.